Welcome back to Living in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm Andrea West, and today I am joining Martin Semink at Home Safety Services here in Millbrae, California. And we're going to go through a lot of great options that this company does to come into your home, customize it so you can stay in your home longer and age in place without having to do major remodels or construction. Does that sound about right?
Sounds like fun to me.
Great. Thanks for joining me. It's going to be really fun. All right, Martin, so tell me a little bit about Home Safety Services. You've been around since when?
We have been around since 1997, so 28 years now. Started the business after my dad had a stroke, and he needed some modifications around the house, and I found that I got a lot of satisfaction out of helping him out, and that he wouldn't have known where to turn to for that kind of service if I weren't there to do so. And since then, we've helped about 40,000 folks.
Wow.
By making really practical, simple, and yet really effective modifications throughout the home.
That's great. And so you mentioned you are a licensed contractor.
We are.
But most of what you do is not construction.
Correct. Okay. Most of what we do is simply making retrofit modifications that might include things like stair lifts, stair railings, a lot of things in the bathroom, but not necessarily remodeling the bathroom, but adding some fixtures like grab bars, raising the toilets or replacing the toilets, other devices to make showering safer and more independent, and then stair railings inside, outside of the home. Those sorts of simple modifications can really make a big difference.
Great. Well, let's get started. Where do you think most people would start when they come into your showroom?
Oh, that's a great question. So usually we start talking about bathing and toileting, because that's something that we have to do each and every day, usually multiple times a day. So, and it is an area where a lot of folks, unfortunately, have a fall. And so why don't we start there?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
So who are your main clients? You mentioned Reactive. Can you explain what that means a little bit?
Sure. We really wish that more of our clients would call us on a proactive basis when they reach a certain age. But the reality is we're typically getting the calls oftentimes from the adult children after mom has taken a fall or after dad's had a stroke and they're discharging from the hospital tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
So more often than not, it's very reactive, but that's all right. We've built our business and our model to support that reactive type of approach. And so we try to be as responsive as we can be. And oftentimes we're out to the home within 24, 48 hours after getting that call.
That's really fast.
It is. And, we realize that it's necessary. The reality is that folks just generally do not plan ahead for these things because nobody wants to. I admit that. So we just try to be as responsive and flexible as we can to support those folks.
Right. And I'm sure that, mom doesn't want to think about putting in the grab bar just because she's a certain age rather than...
Yeah, we think it's a great idea, obviously, but, and there are some folks that do that.
Yeah.
But it's more the reverse. It's probably 80-20 that are reactive versus those that are proactive.
All right, so now you're reactive. You have a need. You either need a commode or a grab bar or a ramp. And how are most people paying for this?
Great question. So the good news is most of this stuff is pretty affordable. We're talking hundreds of dollars to make some of these modifications. So if somebody has to pay out of pocket, it's generally pretty affordable stuff.
As long as we're not getting the jacuzzi tub.
Exactly. So yeah, we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars in most cases, which is great. So the added benefit is that there is a lot of funding out there. And generous funding. If folks are veterans, the VA has a wonderfully generous benefit for folks that includes home modifications. There's also insurances that cover. Medi-Cal now has a new program that offers a generous benefit. And there's lots of community agencies that get grant funding to help low-income seniors to be able to remain in their homes that will apply to this as well. So, there's lots of ways to pay for it, but at the end of the day, if it is private pay, again, it's usually not too painful.
That's great. Now, the more costly things, joking with the jacuzzi tub, but that's one, but the stair lift might be a little bit more money out of pocket.
It definitely would be, because now you're talking several thousands of dollars depending upon the design. But again, the ROI for that investment as compared to several weeks in an assisted living facility or an additional caregiver for several months. Those types of modifications, even if they are thousands of dollars, will generally pay for themselves very quickly.
Right, or having to move out of your home.
Worst case scenario, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, then that sounds terrible.
Yeah. If it's right for you, that's fine, but
absolutely,
we don't want the reason for you to move out of your home be something that we could have fixed.
Agreed, 100%. And now you're based here in Millbrae, but you serve the Bay Area and beyond, right?
Well beyond. Technically, we're on the border. We're in Burlingame here, but right by SFO. And and for 28 years now, we've covered not only the Bay Area, but most of Northern California. We go as far north as Redding. We go as far south as about Fresno or Visalia. So we have technicians based all over the state to perform these services.
Wow, that's quite the span. That's a lot of folks.
It is, and it's challenging to support, but really rewarding to help folks in so many areas.
That's great. So Martin mentioned we have a lot of people who ask about toileting and bathing, and that's not surprising because we're all up and down off the toilet multiple times a day, right?
That's true, and the older we get, the more difficult it can be to get up and down safely and independently.
Right.
So generally, we've developed a lot of different solutions to help folks, depending upon their particular physical situation and condition, as well as what the configuration of their existing home is. And so with toileting, in terms of additional solutions, it's not a one-size-fits-all type of approach. We really have to look at the characteristics of the individual and the function of the space itself to see what's going to be the best solution for them.
Right. Okay. So where would you start? What toilet option is maybe the first level?
Okay, good. So when we're talking about helping folks on the toilet, we do so in two ways. Either to raise the height of the toilet to make it easier for them to get on and off, or to provide some additional support so that they have some additional leverage either to push themselves up or to pull themselves up from the toilet and to lower themselves back down safely. So right behind you, I can show you kind of the starting point or the entry level is to add a riser on top of the toilet just to raise the height of the seat a little bit.
Okay.
Makes it easier to get on and off. We can use the same concept to put the riser under the toilet, effectively creating a pedestal for the toilet, thereby raising the height of the seat as well.
And I feel like I've seen that in homes and I never pieced together why there would be a riser on the bottom, and that makes so much sense now. Thank you.
Good. Good. So the other approach to help folks on the toilet is to provide some sort of support. And you happen to be leaning on one such support there. So, and that is what we call a floor-to-wall grab bar, and that just provides support when you don't have a wall to put a grab bar.
Got it.
And behind you, there's a little pony wall that actually does support a grab bar and again give you leverage to get on and off the toilet.
And you could even do both.
Absolutely.
Oh, how nice. That is a lot easier to do. Okay, great.
And then we have all sorts of options, including a grab bar or a rail that will be down in place when you need it, but also give you the capability of perhaps moving it up and out of the way when it's not needed.
Oh, how nifty.
Really helpful for real tight configuration space, particularly when there's a caregiver involved and you need additional access to the individual or the toilet. And then again, when it is needed, put it down in position, and now super sturdy support to help raise yourself up from the toilet or lower yourself back down.
Just looks so easy too.
Yeah, functionally very easily. A little difficult and tricky on the installation to make sure that it's going to be super secure on a retrofit basis, but yeah, great solution.
Great. So now this guy, oh wow, that is stable. That's really good.
Oh good, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So the next level of solution is something that I really refer to as kind of the Cadillac solution, because not only does it provide you the support and the elevation, this product will actually lift you up or to a standing position and lower you back down to the toileting position, just like a lift chair in the living room does.
Look at that. It's
So
like a ride.
it is a little bit of a ride. It's not a fast ride, but it is a ride.
Well, that's pretty cool though.
But it's really fabulous for folks that have lost leg strength, in particular their quads, which unfortunately, if you find someone plopping down on the toilet, that becomes dangerous, obviously, and folks will crack their toilet tanks as a result. But if they have this device, even if they have no quad strength, they can use their walker to back right up to it and then very comfortably lean back and sit and now be lowered down to a dignified seating position. Again,
so
not
nice.
very quickly, but gradually you'll get down there.
Right.
And be in, again, a dignified position to do your toileting. And this lift product can also be fitted with a bidet.
Oh, nice.
Such that now you can really have a complete independent toileting process with a remote control feature to make sure that you're getting the proper hygiene, and then you truly have the Cadillac solution.
That's so nice, and you don't have to worry about bending or tipping over or breaking anything, and just great. Okay, well, lovely. Okay, and then those two together, how long does an install take for something like that?
Good. So any of these solutions, the installation process is very quick. I mean, these things are all done within an hour.
Wow.
And costs range from a couple $100s to a couple $1,000.
Okay.
But so that gives you the magnitude of what's involved.
Got it. So this to me says I'm somebody who knows that this mobility that I have now is here to stay. Right. This is probably somebody who's at a certain age or a certain condition where they're committed to a long-term need, rather than maybe somebody with one of these, maybe they're not as sure.
I think that's a fair statement. Something like this is a more significant investment.
Sure.
But that being said, if this allows you to be at home independently for even a few months, it's going to pay for itself very quickly.
Right, rather than going to rehab or having to move to a facility.
Or have an additional caregiver to help you get on and off the toilet. All of those things add up very quickly.
Oh, yes, indeed. Okay, well, great. This is wonderful. And how far out do you book for something?
Oh, great. So because all of our clients are typically needing these things on a reactive basis, we really try to be as responsive as we can. So we've got a full team of technicians all over the state that are doing nothing but these quick and simple modifications. So we try to keep our turn times down to, as quick as 48 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not waiting a couple weeks for this.
No, yeah.
What a great option. That's great.
That's the idea.
Awesome, wonderful. And then on these toilets, one last thing from a resale perspective, because I do get folks who say that.
Absolutely.
When I go to sell it, I don't want it to look, modified or anything. Are most of these removable?
Yes. So the good news is most of the stuff that we've talked about this far, readily removable.
Great.
Worst case scenario, some spackling for a couple holes in the wall. So, and those things that are not so removable, our approach is to take a very minimalist approach anyways, and only provide the minimum practical solutions so you don't end up with grab bars all over your bathroom.
Right.
Maybe you've got them just in a couple key strategic locations.
Right.
And in that case, anybody coming into that bathroom or shower is likely going to see those as an asset, not as a detriment.
Yeah.
Because we'll all use a grab bar if it's properly placed.
Why not?
And not excessive, not beneath that at all. So yeah.
Oh, great, okay. All right, Martin, so I like this setup because now we're looking at toilet and we're looking at a tub with a shower over it. Give me the breakdown. What have we done here?
Good. So this is a real common setup for us in typically a pretty condensed bathroom,
right?
Oftentimes, and the folks, might have some mobility issues, stability issues, and so what we've done here is provide both some elevation to the toilet seat height by attaching an insert or a riser.
Okay.
And in addition to that, we've affixed some very sturdy arms to it. It's called a toilet safety frame. And they're perfectly positioned to give you great ergonomic support on either side of the toilet to, again, make it really safe and confident for you to push yourself up from the toilet as well as to lower yourself back down.
Great.
So really cost effective, really common, doesn't take up any floor space, and ultimately removable when it's no longer needed as well.
Just swap out the seat, right?
There you go.
That's not
easy.
too hard. Great, great.
So super common. And then over here, what we're demonstrating is really probably the simplest but largest impact type of modification that we make. And it simply consists of adding a bath bench, some grab bars, a handheld shower, sometimes a curtain to take a tub that was previously inaccessible for folks and make it very safe and very independent for them to use.
Right. And I get a lot of folks that are worried about the tub because they're getting in and out and they say, I don't have the money to remodel and, or I don't want to deal with it. It's too much stress. So this, you're not pulling permits. We're not remodeling anything, right? It's just straightforward?
This is very, very simple, adding equipment and fixtures, and I can show you real quickly
That would be
how
great.
it kind of works.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so again, if there's sliding glass shower doors, we might need to take those down, and those come off very easily, either on a temporary or a permanent basis.
Okay.
And we provide a bath bench. It's also referred to as a transfer bench. And what that allows us to do is, even if we're using a walker, we can back up to the bench, sit down very comfortably and confidently.
Oh.
And we don't have to stand and step over the tub lip, just kind of scoot ourselves across, and then one at a time, lift our legs into the enclosure. Now we're inside the shower enclosure. We can pull the curtain closed. Use the handheld shower to get a full and complete bathing experience. When we're all done, we reverse the process, one at a time, lifting our legs out. And again, never unstable. We're just scooting. And if we've got a grab bar in the right spot, we pull ourselves up and stand up, and we're on our way.
Oh, how great.
Yeah, so for a lot of folks, we get that aha moment.
Yes.
Because within, an hour or two's worth of work, a few $100s worth of equipment, and we've made a bathtub completely accessible. So
That's
one of my
great.
favorite solutions.
Oh, that's amazing. And again, even when you do go to sell it, it's not like you've added something ridiculous, like one of those walk-in tubs, right?
Exactly,
You're just doing something a lot easier.
Yep, no, and truly, if you went into a home that had a grab bar here and a grab bar here, those are value add for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Awesome. That was helpful. And then that shower wand, is that detachable?
Yeah, so the handheld showers, lots of versions and varieties out there, but basically it enables you to get a complete bathing experience without having to stand and become unstable.
Wonderful.
So really confident, allows you to control the water completely, and usually they'll have a trickle function, so you can turn the water down to a trickle and not have it spraying around when you don't need it to.
Sure.
So
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you. So we went over solutions for just modifying your current bathtub, but if somebody really wanted like the jacuzzi hydrojet experience, right? Is that what we're looking at here?
that is, and so this is what's referred to as a walk-in tub, and everybody has seen these on TV advertised nonstop.
All the time.
So we actually have this one in our showroom more to talk people out of them than to talk people into them.
Now, why would you want to talk someone out of this?
Well, because in all frankness, for the vast majority of the population, we don't feel that they're the right solution.
Okay.
So for a small percentage of seniors that really need the hydrotherapy, might be a good way to go.
Sure.
But for most other folks that have stability and mobility issues that are just looking for a safe way to bathe, there's ways that are much less costly, much less time consuming, much less invasive to and detrimental to the value of your home than this that are going to be safer, including a bath transfer bench and grab bars and shower chairs and other types of solutions. So, but that said, if somebody absolutely needs the hydrotherapy and we can't do a bath lift for some reason in an existing bathtub, then this might be the way to go.
Okay.
But if folks do so, then we do like a model like this one that has a giant opening door.
Oh, how fancy. That's much bigger than the ones I've seen.
Exactly. The ones you've probably seen on TV, you almost have to navigate your way through. And this, because of the giant door and the built-in seat, again, if you're in a walker, you can back right up to it and sit down very confidently and comfortably, and then twist and close the door behind you. So if you absolutely need it, this is the way to go. But again, we really try to decipher and discern with our clients to see if this is really the right solution for them, or if there might be a more appropriate, more cost-effective solution.
Probably quicker too.
Way quicker.
Okay. So if someone's reactive and they need something quickly, this is probably not the way to go.
Probably not the way to go, because you're looking at basically to have to remodel your bathroom space to accommodate it. So you can get the equipment very quickly, but the time to permit it and do the demolition and deal with any, water damage or mold issues that you have, it can get very involved.
Okay, good to know. Well, it's nice to know you have that option.
Good.
All right. So one of the other big concerns I hear from a lot of my clients is concerns around stairs. You don't want to fall down the stairs, you want to fall up the stairs. So what do you have that are good, practical, kind of like first tier options for folks?
Okay, fantastic. So you're right to recognize the concern with stairs, because stairs are really the location in the home where the most serious falls take place, right? And the set of stairs that a lot of folks overlook in the home might not be the entry stairs or the interior stairs, but those 2 or 3 steps going from maybe the kitchen down into the garage.
Yeah.
We're up and down those things multiple times a day. The laundry is oftentimes in the garage area. We need to get to the car, and unfortunately those steps are often not in the greatest shape. We've got clutter on them, the lighting's not great, and it's really rare that folks will have stair railings sturdy and appropriately placed on both sides of those stairs. So it's really kind of a pet peeve of ours to make sure that in every home that we go into that we're evaluating those stairs, and oftentimes we're providing really simple but really practical and sturdy solutions, such as a custom steel railing like this.
That's nice.
We bolted into the,
another one.
Yeah, just another style that we're demonstrating, but we bolt these down into the concrete floor of the garage, bolt it to the house frame here, super sturdy, gives you that good confidence coming and going.
Great. And do you have different aesthetic styles and things too?
Absolutely. These are our simplest, most cost-effective solutions that we're going to be using in the garage area, but we can do very decorative styles and match what folks have, whether it's wood or steel, whether it's indoor or outside the home as well.
Wonderful. Great. So then it looks like the aesthetic of the home. It doesn't look like they just added it.
That's our intention. We want to make the railings look like they've been part of the home forever.
So we talked about short stairs, right? But now what if you have a 2-story or a 3-story house? You see those lifts on TV. You guys do those?
We absolutely do.
Great.
And they're really a terrific solution and can be the difference between being able to stay in your home or having to relocate.
Right.
So, and the lifts really fall into 2 categories. A straight lift is for a straight set of stairs.
Okay.
Whether it's inside or outside the home.
Right.
Really simple, really cost effective.
So you could do these for front entry if someone lives on their 2nd story.
Absolutely.
Oh,
If you've got,
Great.
6 steps to walk up the porch, 12 steps to walk up the porch, you can get an exterior rated lift.
Okay, and that might be better than a ramp for some people.
Yeah, ramps are really cost effective, but they tend to be more cost effective for about 3-4 steps or so leading into the home. Beyond that, then it tends to become more cost effective and space effective, I guess is, for lack of a better term, to go to a lift once you get over 3 or 4 steps of elevation change.
Got it. All right. So this, if you have a 2-story house, this goes straight up.
Yep.
And it doesn't look like it doesn't take up too much space. I could still walk next to it.
That's the whole idea.
So some people in the home don't need it, then they have the whole area.
And the chair actually folds up and out of the way, as does the footrest, and so it does in the armrests as well, so it even gives you more space.
Oh, how nifty. Oh, no, I even have more, so if I need to carry laundry or something.
Absolutely. You want to give it a go?
Oh, sure. Is it easy enough? Am I going to figure it out?
I think you can do so, yeah. So I'll just have you sit down there. And then you can push the lever in the direction of travel. Usually we'd be coaching folks to put the seatbelt on.
We should do that, safety.
Okay, all right, good. It is 3 steps. There you go, good.
Let's do it.
And push the lever over, and it'll take a second or 2 to get going.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
I'm floating. It's so lovely.
So, and then it'll stop at the top, and then you can rotate the chair.
Oh, how do I rotate?
By pulling up on that lever, or down on the lever,
Down
I'm sorry.
the lever, okay.
And now you'll be able to
just rotate with my
rotate the chair. Yep, we would adjust the chair to be a little lower for you.
I see, yes, I am a little shorter than you. So now, we looked at one that goes up straight stairs, but my folks, they have you go up 3 steps and then it turns and there's a landing and then it turns again and then it goes up more. So is that what this does?
It really does. So
that's great.
Yeah, so this would be called the custom curve lift. And as you can see, just in our small showroom, we've demonstrated that it can do some pretty amazing twists and turns, all custom fit to the applicable stairs.
That's great.
For
and
your
it goes,
parents' home.
Right, and it goes in the floor, not the wall.
Secures to the floor, yes.
That's great. So then when you take it out, you might have to fill in some holes.
Yep,
but
pretty minor typically.
okay, but it is easy to remove.
Easy to remove.
That's great.
Again, just a one-day install.
Wow.
And so, it does take a few weeks to custom fabricate and design
Sure.
the tubing to make sure that it's going to perfectly fit your stairs.
Right.
But amazing once it's installed.
So now let's talk outside of the house. If you're coming in, you've got your front door and you've got some stairs, but you don't necessarily need one of the electric lifts. Looks like you've got some ramp options, right?
We do, and what we're exhibiting here is what's referred to as a modular aluminum wheelchair ramp system. And these are really, really fabulous. So much so that it's very rare that we will build the ramp in a traditional mode with hammer and nails or pouring concrete.
Sure.
Because these are so terrific.
Well, it looks, may I?
Please.
Sure feels sturdy. That's good.
Yeah, so, and as you can imagine, this is a very modest elevation change here of a few inches.
Right, right.
But we can do these ramps from, as short as this to 30, 60, 80 feet long if need be.
80 feet.
With modular components, and all can be assembled usually within a few hours.
Wow.
And equally as impressive, disassembled and removed within a few hours as well. So one of the beautiful attributes of this system is that there's no permanent modification to the home.
Oh, that's lovely.
The ramp stays in place for as long as it's needed, and once it's removed, there's no evidence that it was ever there.
Well, that's great. And so if you maybe had a procedure or something and you just need it for a few months,
exactly.
You're not committed to a ramp.
Exactly. So we do a lot of applications where folks are rehabbing, they can't be weight bearing, or they're wheelchair bound for a period of time. We can even rent this solution on a month-to-month basis.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise you have to figure out how to get rid of it later when you don't need it.
Well, and that's the beauty of it. Even if you do own this, it never needs to go to the landfill because it's aluminum, it lasts forever.
Great.
And so it can be reused by somebody else and reconfigured into a different configuration for them. And so again, from multiple aspects, it's really a terrific solution.
Great. I can see why it would be very popular. So if you've got a shower, you don't have a tub, but you still have concerns getting in and out, right?
Absolutely.
Great. So what are we looking at here? This looks like a very nice shower. And it looks like it has a lot of safety features.
It does, it does. So yeah, and again, the concern with showering is we want to make sure that we don't take a slip and fall. And because of the moisture, it's easy to do so. So we definitely want to have good support and something to grab for support, both as we step into the enclosure and then inside the enclosure while we're standing and showering. So in this case, we happen to have a curbless shower enclosure, which is really fabulous. But if we had a curb, we'd be stepping into the enclosure. You could grab onto this for stability.
Right.
And, folks generally don't have to hold on to it the whole time. But the reason that we want this horizontal bar is because a lot of times while we're rinsing our hair and we've got soap in our eyes, that's when we become unsteady. And you want to know that there's a grab bar right there to reach for support.
Super smart.
So that you can find it even if you got soap in your eyes.
Right. And these look a lot more modern too.
So there's so many styles of grab bars, so you can match any aesthetic. So there's really no excuse that, it's going to institutionalize my bathroom. Well, only if you want it to.
Right.
So aesthetically, you can match any finish, any style that you have.
Very modern. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I see this little bench here. That looks convenient.
Yeah, so this is a built-in shower bench and it folds up and out of the way, which is great if you've got multiple people using the shower. If somebody doesn't need the bench, it can stay folded against the wall. If somebody would like the bench or use it on occasion, it folds down and it's in place there. Super sturdy, comfortable. Now you can reach a handheld shower and get that full bathing experience again.
Oh, and that's so nice to have that getting up and down.
That's the whole idea.
That's great. And this, do you need to do a major remodel to get the little bench in?
We don't. And because this style of bench has these fold-down legs,
I see.
Most of the weight is being borne by those legs. We do still have to anchor it to the wall.
Smart.
Very securely.
Right.
So these are retrofittable in just about every enclosure.
That's great. That's wonderful. And then this one here, this looks similar, but this bench looks a little bit different. And what do you call this again?
So this is a curb.
A curb.
So, and most existing showers have curbs, right?
Yes.
That keep the water in.
Right.
The white shower, we've remodeled that bathroom, taken that curb out, put in a sloping pan to make it barrier free. So in this one, it's a more traditional shower that will have a curb. We'll either typically have a glass door or a curtain in it, right?
Nice.
But the concept is the same. We want sturdy support as we're stepping into the enclosure, stepping over that threshold, and then we want a grab bar at the backside to give us that stability while we're standing and showering.
Great.
So this one does have a different seat. This is a little bit more elegant in design, this cantilevered seat. A lot of folks really love these.
Well, it feels like a spa.
Oh, good.
It's very nice.
That's the idea as well.
It's lovely. Yeah.
So, and these can be a little trickier to install depending upon how the wall is framed behind it.
I see.
So at times these are limited to remodel applications, but if we get lucky, we can do it on a retrofit basis as well.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for joining me today on Living in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm Andrea West, joined by Martin Semink of Home Safety Services. Thank you so much for joining me, Martin.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Great. If you have any questions about Martin's business, his contact information is below. You can reach out to him for consultations, for home modifications. My information is there as well if you have any questions about living in the San Francisco Bay Area or modifying your home. Till next time.